السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
It's about time to start. Can we have engineer Sheikh Mohandes Jabir who can make an opening and dua before starting the Zoom meeting, inshallah. Welcome, Sheikhna. Mohandes Jabir. مرحبا بك.
اهلا بك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمه الله وبركاته.
ابدا ان شاء الله يعني بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الذي يفتح به كل باب خير، ونسال الله عز وجل ان يجعل هذا الجمع جمعا مرحوما وتفرقا بعد تفرقا معصوما، ولا يجعل فينا ولا منا ولا شقيا ولا محروما. اهلا بكم جميعا واهلا بالحضور واهلا بالدكتور هاني البنا، حفظكم الله جميعا. هذا الملتقى الكريم الذي عنوانه الشبكه المجتمعيه، وهو بفضل الله عز وجل يكون عنوانه التنميه المجتمعيه المستدامه في مجتمعاتنا، وهذا ما حض عليه ديننا الحنيف، وافعلوا الخير لعلكم تفلحون. ففعل الخير كل انواع الخير، وفعل البر كل انواع البر. ولكن اريد ان اضيف يعني امرا ليس جديدا، ولكن كل هذه اللقاءات وهذه الخطط وهذه الهمه التي باذن الله ننوي فيها ان نخدم اوطاننا ومجتمعاتنا كما حض علينا ديننا، دون النظر الى عقائد، ولكن كما قال الله عز وجل: وما ارسلناك الا رحمه للعالمين وقولوا للناس حسنا. ولذلك اود ان يكون في الامر المستقبل ان نخرج من هذه الدورات ومن هذه اللقاءات ومن هذا التدريب الى واقع عملي على الارض، ولو نموذج صغير نبدا به عمليا. خير الاعمال اعمال ادومها وان قل. فاريد ان يتمخض ويتمحور وينتج عن كل هذه اللقاءات وهذا التدريب شيء واقع عملي، ولو بيلوت صغير نبني عليه باذن الله نجاحاتنا في الايام القادمه والمستقبل. اسال الله ان يعينكم ويعني هذا العمل الذي تقومون به الذي وصى به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: احب الاعمال الى الله سرور تدخله على مسلم، او جوعه تسد رمق جائع. فكل هذه من احب الاعمال الى الله، الا وهي خدمه مجتمعاتنا واوطاننا. نسال الله ان يعيننا جميعا على ان نخرج من هذه اللقاءات الى ترجمه عمليه ولو بسيطه على واقع الحياه. اقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم، والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Engineer Jabir, thank you very much for welcoming notes. And now we can introduce to our participants who are listening and following our Zoom meeting, our prominent guests and hosts, Dr. Hani Al-Banna, who is the founder of Islamic Relief, the largest Christian-based Muslim international relief and development NGO. He's also founder and chairman of various charitable organizations, including the World Humanitarian Action Forum, which previously was known as the Humanitarian Forum, which is a global initiative organized by several humanitarian development organizations that aim to encourage effective collaboration to better serve affected communities. And is also the Muslim Charities Forum, which aims to act as an umbrella for the Muslim charitable sector in the UK, United Kingdom, and is also a Zakat House charitable organization based on the fourth pillar of Islam. And Zakat uses this principle to support small charities around the United Kingdom, offer support and guidance as well, running and fund a social project which benefits those living in poverty in the UK and around the world. This is a prominent personality in the world. Don't need more to elaborate and talk about him. Please, we hand over to you, Dr. Hani Al-Banna. You have around 50 minutes. You can use 45 minutes to present, and you can leave some minutes for the question and answer session. Over to you, Dr. Hani. Please welcome.
You are on mute, Dr. Hani.
Mute. How it is now?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Now nice and clear. Yes. Bismillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu ala Rasulullah. I'm very happy to be with you today. I'm extremely thrilled and thanking Brother Dr. Sayyid Zinari, who is my colleague, and he is inviting me to talk with you, not to talk to you. Big difference between talk to you and talk with you. As well as Brother Saeed Bawazir organizing this meeting, and Sister Fatima Hirsi from WAF, who is actually in charge of me in WAF, alhamdulillah. Today, it's an introduction to a new announcement for humanity, which include 6 or 5 or 7 points. We will complete it in another lecture, inshallah. Such an announcement or adhan has started more than 40 years ago, when Islamic Relief was established in the West, to make the first announcement. Then the creation of the Islamic humanitarian movement started after that, from Europe, from America, and impacted the communities in Europe and America and in the East as well. Big movement started in 1984 without planning. This is the first adhan. Now, today, I'm going to talk about other adhan. We had a conference which we organized 2 years ago in Istanbul. And this conference actually was organized by Humanitarian Forum, talking about the new adhan, or the new dimension of international humanitarian work. And we produced, after this conference, a book, which I need all of you, inshallah, to be able to obtain it, to actually learn from the experience of all the scholars and the practitioners who attended this meeting, including Dr. Said Zinari, was very instrumental with us. Today, we are listening to a new adhan from Africa. I love Africa, whether you like it or not, because I'm indebted to Africa, the Sudan especially, who is and was my teacher since I started actually this movement with others in 1983. So Africa for me is a teacher, is a guide, is an aspiration, and is a momentum for change. That's why we have to stand for Africa. And I thank you for making the Dar es Salaam declaration. Very dynamic, alhamdulillah, and very much needed at the moment, because in our new adhan, we should create our new definitions, our new terminology, our new policies, our new declaration, our new statement our new strategy, our new direction, not only for our communities, but for the global and universal communities as well. To start with, I will say, first of all, I don't know from how many countries you are here today, the relationship with our countries, with our government has to be conducive, built on mutual understanding of what we need to do together as local civil society organization, international organization, and local governments and national governments. In my introduction today, first point, we are talking about philanthropy and humanitarian work is boundless, beyond limit, have no boundaries, have no ceiling, have no borders. If we are engaged nowadays in this field of humanitarian, as they call it nowadays, or social, or developmental, or as I call it, Creatureterian, we need to understand that our work does not have ceilings, borders, or time zone. It's all the way going. Our growth is depending on the local community. It depends on empowering our local community. Our job is not a job, 9 to 5. It's not a salary that you have to fight for. It's a mission, it's a message, it's an action, it is a lifelong strive for community change and community building and community cohesion. If you want to be working inside this field, you have to ignore your time zone, your geographical zone, and your pain that you will receive when you meet the people and see their agony. And when we are backstabbed by our colleagues and others, because we are the followers of the messengers of God, and because we need to carry the message of all the messengers of God. As our Ustaz mentioned at the very beginning, our work is not just a part of our innovation, it is a part of continuity of the message of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Musa, Isa, Ibrahim, and others. That's why when I say adhan, Allah told Ibrahim when he was in the middle of the desert of Mecca, adhan fil nas. There was nobody there. But the adhan, adhan fil nas ya'tuka rijalan. They will come to you walking on horseback, on camelback, come to you riding, come to you flying. But at that time, he was the only one making the adhan. And now we need to see how many millions of people coming and responding to the adhan of Ibrahim alayhi salam since that time. So when we started 40 years ago, it was the beginning without planning. Now, I'm very thrilled to read the declaration that you wrote, and I'm extremely very empowered by you. So it's not me. When we look at these definitions, which three parallel lines, we find in the first one in the green, we're still following the human philosophy of understanding the terminology and the definitions. Human is the source and the creator and the legislator of humanitarianism, humanity, humanitarian, humanism, and humanism. This is something which we need to review, because recently, when we look at the response of the international community on the international movement to what's happening in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, to Sudan, to Gaza, and to Ukraine, we find that the standard is not the same. The principles of humanitarianism is not applied to the four countries. It is applied to Ukraine much differently, to Gaza, to Lebanon, to Democratic Republic of Congo, and you know better than myself that DRC is extremely wealthy, but is now controlled by 80 or 90 or 100 armed groups who are selling all the raw material to foreign companies. This is the first definition which we are following nowadays, but it's not being applicable in a very balanced and just way. In this definition, the legislator is human being, you and me. The second definition, the legislator is the creator, Allah, whom we need. This is my own definition, brothers and sisters. My own definitions, brothers and sisters. From creator, we develop creatorianism, creatoriality, creaturetarian, creaticism, and creatureism. Who is the legislator? Is the creator. It's not the human being. In the first definition, the legislator is the human being. The judge is the human being. The jury is the human being. The attorney is the human being. The criminal is a human being. The witness is a human being. And the innocent is a human being. But in the second one and the third one, creature, coming from creature, the legislator is the creator, not the human being. To have got higher authority to manage our philosophy of thinking, to manage our strategy, and to direct us to the right way that He, Allah, He, our Lord, is actually wanting us to go to this direction. So from the creator and the legislator, it could be the judge, but the jury, the witness, the criminal, the attorney are human beings. The third one is coming from the creature, which is the creature created by the creator. Creaturetarianism, creaturity, creaturetarian, creatureism, and others. Why I'm putting these three from the very beginning while you're still sound and are not bored of my talk, and you did not lose your focus yet, because my message now, the adhan is ours. We have to develop it. As brother, as at the beginning said, we need to be practical. We need to give this wake-up call to you, to me, to all of us, to create the flow so others can flow us and follow our flow. This is the challenge of revisiting the definitions and redefining the definition again according to our philosophy of understanding, to our values, to our moral system, to our belief, to all these sort of things. We have the right to do it because we have the tools, we have the experience, and we have all the belief that we would like to become change maker to help and save humanity or creaturity or creaturity. Difficult to pronounce it now, but we have to follow it. The second point in my introduction to you, my dear Ustaz, brothers and sisters, is we are dealing with two kinds of humanitarian response, or creaturetarian response, as I call it, or creaturetarian response. Traditional one and special one, specialized one. What do I mean by this? During any emergencies, donors will throw money at us. Millions and millions and millions of dollars, or pounds, or shillings, or. Sooner the camera disappear, nobody will give us any money. You understand me? The soon the camera disappear, you get no money. That's why, who is doing the traditional work? Anybody can do the traditional work. Any individual, any community worker, any people, any organization. Okay, fine. But what is the specialized work? It is the things that actually the individuals and the initiatives and the local organization cannot do it, which we need to do it by the organization. But by the time we do it, actually we'll find no fund is available for us because the camera is not there. The camera is gone with the wind. What to do, brothers and sisters, to create this divide, this actually equation? When we raise the fund for humanitarian response, we have to divide it. Or Creatureterian response. The traditional response means water, sanitation, health, education, shelter. Anybody can do it. But the non-traditional response, which is capacity building, community building, municipality support, to support your local municipality, creating your young leadership, developmental work, and all these kind of things, the local organization may be difficult and the individual might not be able to do it. But we might not have fund for it after the camera disappeared. That's why from the very beginning, my colleague and my ustaz and my guide, you have to divide the humanitarian response into two parts. 70% spent on traditional work, traditional program, which I mentioned them before, water, sanitation, food basket, and all these kind of things, and 30% to be kept in an area which is safe to spend on building local community. And this is something we have to educate our donors, telling the donors, listen, we are going to divide the shilling or the rupees or the pound or the dinar. 70% spend on traditional work during emergency and 30% on non-traditional response. This is the direction we need all of us to stand up and call for it, because we cannot afford to see what's happening in Syria after 12 years. And the Syrians since 2016 were crying, we don't want food basket anymore. Change our humanitarian fund response, give us something for resilience. No, the donor wants to spend this on food items, on shelter only. The Syrians were highly educated, were skillful community, but they created them to become dependent individual. Now they are not the same like they were before. They are all relying after 12 years on the handout. Wrong. From the very beginning, what we need to do to divide the humanitarian response fund into these two parts. 70% traditional, which anyone can do it, but 30% non-traditional, which is the capacity building, the community building, the building our the local leadership, and all these kind of things, which no individuals and local organizations might not be able to do that. This is my second point in the introduction. My third point is donor culture. For God's sake, my brothers and my sisters and my teachers, we need to understand there's no money coming to you without a culture. No money coming to us without philosophy of thinking. No money coming to us without belief and dogma behind it. No, whether it comes from Muslim, from Arabs, or from non-Muslims. Each one of them as donors will put their conditions. Look at, if you want to get some funding from USAID, from GIZ, from all the big organizations, from Oxfam, from Save the Children, from even from Muslim organizations, they will put their own criteria as a part of their own culture. If you wear my robe, if you want my grant, you wear my robe, follow my path, spread my culture, ideally apply the pillars of my belief. This is what I believe in. Nothing is given to us for free. This feeling or this understanding is extremely naive. Oh yes, they're good people, they're our brothers. No. Some people, during the case of Bosnia in the good old days, were not giving the fund to the women who were not wearing hijab. And Bosnia was coming out after communism and socialism. We're not giving to the people who were not fasting. And people were coming out after communism and all these sort of things. Because the culture of the donor is different to the culture of the people. But we have to let the people to understand that we need to uplift them to build the local community and maybe to support or to empower or to change some of their culture in a positive way. So be careful when you look at any grant coming to you, it's always tied with a string to our culture, to philosophy, to values, to dogma, and to belief. My fourth point in my introduction today, this is an introduction, by the way, brothers and sisters and my teacher, is the role of women and young people in our work. And this, for me, is very vital, essential, crucial, and is an absolute necessity. Let me ask myself and you some question. Do we have a society or nation or people without women, young people, and children? No. Do we have families without women as wife or daughters or sisters or aunties or grandma? No. Why don't we involve our young women in our work at the same time? This is number one. The same, that why we don't involve our future generation and make them the future leaders while we are in position. Not when we leave our position, we cry on them and say, hey, we should have done this. And with my experience as a consultant now, after I left my executive role in the organization, I trained them wrong. Empowering the young people and women is at the time when you are in power, not when you leave the power of the election. My opinion on this organization who do not have women and young people in their structure, you know what we say about women? ناقصات عقل ودين. This in Arabic, the organization who does not have young people and women, ناقصية أو ناقصات رحمة وحيوية. They are lacking the mercy and the vitality. Because mercy comes from the woman, vitality comes from the young people. And if you want me to give some examples to the role of women in Islam, I will give this with pride. Sumaya or Khadija at the very beginning, her role as the supporter, political advocate for Islam from day one. Who are we to speak about Khadija? Sumaya, you know the status of Sumaya, the first martyr of Islam. Asma bint Abi Bakr, her role in the emigration of the Prophet ﷺ from Mecca to Medina was her father. Safiya, radiallahu anha, in the battlefield of Uhud. Salama, radiallahu anha, in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Khawla, Sayyidah Khawla, which actually the friend of the Khadija anha, when the Prophet ﷺ sat down to discuss with her something and left everybody in Mecca, armies, leaders, head of tribes, and he was talking to her for an hour. And when they asked him about who this woman, said she used to come to us at the time of Khadija. Okay. كلثوم بنت عقبة بن أبي معيط إنهم الله سبحانه وتعالى revealed سورة الممتحنة. Okay. خولة بنت ثعلبة and the one whom her سورة المجادلة was revealed, and خولة بنت الأزور and the war against the Roman. They are our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our grandma. They have a role to play in our organization. Young people, many of them, first of them is Ali ibn Abi Talib, the first individual to try to sacrifice himself for the protection of the Prophet ﷺ. سعد بن أبي وقاص, الأرقم بن أبي الأرقم, الزبير بن العوام, معاذ بن عمرو بن جموح, ومعاذ بن عفراء, زيد بن ثابت رضي الله عنه, عبد الله بن عباس, أسامة بن زيد, محمد بن القاسم الثقفي. And we deprive the young people from being with us in the organization in the decision-making status. Who are we? If the Prophet ﷺ did this to them, who are we to say no? They are not mature enough. No, the woman is not mature enough. Islam came to us, and the teacher of us was the Prophet ﷺ, then his companions, then the ulama. We should not invent something new which was not a part of Islam when Islam came to us to guide us and guide humanity. This is the role of women and young people in our organization. We should bring them. We move from this point to point number 5, and the introduction. All this is introduction. Wallahi, I have not started yet. We'll start maybe in a few weeks' time of what you want. Let me just give the role of young people. How can you create future leaders? Future leaders, future leaders, future leaders, future leaders, future leaders. Yes. As I said before, the failing director or the failing president or the failing chairman or the failing CEO is the one who does not create future leaders while he is or she is in possession. Building future leaders is a compelling necessity. It's fard ain upon every manager in every organization. Building future leaders is one of the necessity of the sustainability of the organization itself. No doubt. Building future leaders means that the current leadership have a vision to see the dimension of the future. Who amongst us are not able to see, are not able to read, are not able to realize and to comprehend, cannot make sustainable growth for his own or her organization. It's extremely important to understand that we cannot live forever. I am now, brother Saeed, Bawazir, and the others, I'm at the age of 37. You can reverse it backward, forward. I cannot be doing the same thing when I was doing it 20 years ago. I cannot be there forever. I have to come out. But before coming out, actually, we have to plan for the future. We did this, create this in here in Islamic Relief, haphazardly, or ad hoc at that time, because we were just started. Nowadays, it has to be structured inside the growth, inside the philosophy, inside the thinking, inside the direction and the strategy of the organization. What we have done in the 80s, Allah gave us the ability to make it successful. We used to have young school students young university students. Now they are in different places. And they tell you a story which I keep telling it to everyone. In 2002, January, I was in Baluchistan, in Pakistan, with a young officer of Islamic Relief there. His name is Wasim Ahmed. I asked him a very simple question. What do you want to be, Wasim? You know what he told me? I want to take your job. 2002. 2022, the same Wasim Ahmed, when he came to UK and he got his master's degree and he got his position in Islamic Relief, became the CEO of Islamic Relief. Example, many of the young people who were in the 80s and 90s and the beginning of the 20s actually were trained at an ad hoc, but now no more ad hoc. We need more specialism. We need more strategy. We need more sustainability. We cannot have the ad hoc again. And each and every individual, manager and officer has to invest in the younger generation. And my message to the chairman, my message to the board of the organization, the board of trustees, consider the volunteers are the most precious assets that you can have. More than the money, more precious than the money, more precious than the assets, more precious than anything else. Because human beings, if we develop them rightly, they become the future leader while we retire. Alhamdulillah, I left Islamic Relief because I want to do something else. I've been doing Islamic Relief 24 years plus of humanitarian work or Creatureterian work. Creatureterian work, the other definition. Left a space. After me came Harun Ataullah. After him came Saleh Saeed. After him came Muhammad Ashmawi. After him came Nasr Haj Hamid. After him came Wasim. And I was Egyptian. Harun was half Egyptian. Saleh was Yemeni. Like a lot of Yemeni here. Muhammad Ashmawi was Egyptian. Nasr Haj Hamid was Eritrean, from Eritrea. And Wasim is Pakistani. So there was no one group can control a global or universal organization. Is that clear, brothers and sisters? We have to create this kind of young leadership, building them till it becomes a mission, objective, journey, and roadmap. Till it become a climate inside the organization, being breathed by every individual inside the organization, whether it's a cleaner, whether it's a security man, whether it's a driver, whether it's a team man, or somebody at the leadership. It has to become a climate. It has to become a culture inside the organization. And if the people who are in position realize that they have to build a map to protect the dimension of the future of generation to come. Here, they will be remembered forever by local and the international community. Yes, they left behind a legacy which meant to be the future leaders that they are leading behind them. So the organization was not affected by their departure or their death. Next point, point number 6. How to make our children independent. Oh my God. This is another big challenge. استقلالية المؤسسة. Let me get it in Arabic because I believe in Arabic. Because Arabic is a language. I'm not sure where it is in Arabic, so I can translate it. Ah, yes. If we want to make our organization independent, we have to do the following. We have to have a vision for the future. timely vision, geographical vision, programmatic vision. And to put for this vision a roadmap with a lot of milestones, having clear objectives that we can implement, like our ustaz mentioned at the very beginning in the introduction. Having policies, having parameters, having procedures, having reviews, having analysis, having all this have to be put from the very beginning. We should not start haphazardly. What we have done in the 80s was just a mere start. Now, after 40 years, we cannot do it again. The politics are different, the culture are different, the philosophy is different, the war on terror, on radicalism, or extremism, and Islamophobia are different. And one of the things which make it sustainable is the multiple sources of income. We should not depend only on one source of income. Find in the local community how many sources of income we can have. Maybe from local businessmen, maybe from the individuals, maybe from the government, maybe from embassies, maybe from others. This number one. Also, from the very beginning, we have to think big about how to create our local waqf. Waqf from the very beginning. We have to do it, which have got a lot of a direction that we did. We have to, from the very beginning, even if we don't have the fund, to put the importance of investing in research studies, training, capacity building, building the capacity of people. Because if we have people who don't have the capacity, they will drain our resources and they will waste our resources. As I mentioned earlier, participation of women and young people in our decision-making process. After that, we can establish investment companies. Actually, we can actually open our organization to on the local community to discover the wealth of knowledge and the wealth of talent in our societies. And we building partnership. We cannot work without building bridges and partnership with other organizations, with the government organization, Muslim organization, non-Muslim organization, community organization, local organization, and others. Another point, make us sustainable, and independent, is to understand the local, the regional, the international, political and economical changes. We should not just be waiting in a ghetto. We need to stop to think, get wise. Get wise, getting us nowhere. That's what we need to do. If we do all this and the others, we start to have what we call independent organization that can make its own decision. I'll tell you an example of the independent organization. Next slide, sister. In 1999, there was the second war in Chechnya. Next slide, please. Second war in Chechnya. The British government did not allow anyone to travel to Russia. At that time, we have our own fund. We wrote a message to the Foreign Office. They were late. I traveled to Moscow, from Moscow to Nazran, the capital of Ingushetia, and from Nazran to what is the other capital of Chechnya? Grozny, the capital of Grozny. By the time the British Foreign Office came back to us, I was already there. We made the decision because we had the fund. We were there before anybody else. I'll tell you, before United Nations, before the creation of IFRC and the ICRC, and any other international organization. We saw the devastation. We saw the agony. We saw everything. And we came back with a dozen or 16 or 17 video film that we took ourselves, and tens of photographs. At that time, before going to Chechnya, we're asking our finance department, because they allow us to spend $10,000 first without going back to the board of management. So we said, can we make it 100,000? They said with a struggle, yes, we can. Then when I came back, me and Muhammad Ala, who was the country representative in Chechnya, can we make it 1 million? Because the need was more than 1 million. The finance department was shocked. You know, brothers and sisters, when we timely took the risk, because we have the independent decision-making process, we managed to spend for Chechnya by March 2003, more than $2 million from what we raised, because everybody believed that we can do it, and we did it, and we took the risk, because we were independent in creating our actually independent decision. In conclusion, impact is something that we need to have. And for this, in times of darkness, as we can see it nowadays, we must call our own adhan, present our own strategy, define our own direction, create our own momentum, lead our own communities, make a significant impact, and strive to save humanity or creatureity as well. Humanity, creatureity. Next, please. Oh, خلصت. So to bring back the last statement, Sister Fatma, because if we want to wake up people for Fajr to pray, it's dark. It's dark. You can't just make adhan for Fajr when the sun is risen or when we're in the middle of the day. Now it is dark. Now it's gloomy. Now it's difficult. Now it's dangerous. Now it is impossible. And this is the time that all of us, the people who signed up the declaration, have to make the adhan from Africa to humanity to creatureity. Jazakum Allah khair. May Allah bless you, inshallah. I think I took less than 50 minutes to give my brothers and my sisters and my ustads and my teachers the time to ask me, to grill me, to roast me, to boil me. Who's going to grill me? Dr. Said? Oh, you are the griller.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Said Nari. Welcome. We can start with you, Doctor. Please welcome.
جزاكم الله خير. بارك الله فيكم.
تفضل Dr. Said.
Nothing to say. Brother Saeed is the person who's managing this session.
Thank you very much for the beneficial Zoom meeting. It's only introduction to humanitarian action and humanitarian diplomacy. We've had a lot from Dr. Han El-Banna, benefited a lot, and it's time for Q&A session and also engagement with Dr. Han. Please welcome, brothers.
Brother Said, how do we do it? Do we raise our hands or do we open our mic and ask questions?
Yes, Dr. Teko, go on, please.
Proceed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Barakallahu fikum for this engagement. Brother Said, Dr. Saeed, and Al-Banna, Barakallahu fikum for the insights, very powerful insights. You know, when you mentioned about involving the youth and the women, I reflected on what we are doing. I was like, okay, now this is one of the core mistakes that we've been making. We need to involve these groups of people to create more impact. However, most important that I've picked is the independence. If you are to make your own adhan, then you need independence. The money should be yours. You should be in position to make the decisions very, very fast. So you have these needs, we need this amount of money, so let's spend it for this cause. The challenge is, how do we create this independence? How do you create this fund from which we can make those easy decisions to help humankind? I submit. Thank you so much once again.
I mentioned the points, quite a few points. I'm just, my presentation is not there as it should be. I don't know how to bring it back, Sister Fatma, the other in Arabic, the Arabic ones. First of all, depend on the local community. No, my presentation, the Arabic one. The Arabic one, which he sent it to me, actually. This number one, multiple source of income. I tell you why Islamic League became more independent, because from the very beginning, we managed to diversify the income. We started from UK, then we went to France, Belgium, Holland, Germany, USA, Canada, and others. Okay? Okay. This diversification of funding, okay, which was something extremely crucial for all of us. Second thing is to build a strong. To build a strong. Is the echo, Sister Fatma. I don't know what. To build a strong structure, particularly what they call it, finance.
Can you please mute Brother Masoud? Can you mute from your side?
Brother Masoud?
Yeah, thank you. خلاص. Go ahead, Dr. Hani.
Particularly the finance and accounting, because most of the big international organizations look at, number one, who is dealing or managing this organization. When we wanted to get funds from European Union in the 90s, we got a consultant, and the consultant asked one question: who is the CEO? I said, me. I said, why you ask this? We'll give you the programs and the policy. I said, no, because we want to know who is making the decision. Then they looked at the board of trustees. Who are they? Their expertise before they give any money. Then they looked at the structure. There's a structure or not. Then they looked at the policies and the procedures and the strategy before giving you the money. Then the board look at the programs. You see? Then they looked at the diversity of funding and the presence in different parts of the world. All these, your big donors will look at it before they give you any penny. Because those big donors will become government or international UN or European or American or other organization. So having this stability, you have to build your work from day one, even by teaching your donors that you are going to deduct 1 or 2% of every donation that they give to the organization to accumulate this fund, which you can spend within 10 or 20 years. Because waqf is a long-term process. When you look at this, it's very important. When we learn to build coalition with others, to build partnership, why should I go and work in an area where somebody else is doing it? I can fund it. We do not do it because we want our logo, because we have the ego. Our ego dictates on us to only worship our logo. If we want to do research, which is a necessity, we have all the data in your organization, which is extremely wealthy. which no other organization have it. But each one of us does not want to share such data with others. If we want to create this research, we have to share the data together, and we have to go to one institution to make the research for us and to share the cost of making the research. If I do the research by my own self, nobody will read it. Nobody will give me any money because it's my own organization. But if 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 organizations put their data together and went to a credible research institution or to a university, credible university, and produce this big report, which shows the stakeholders and the organization which produced the report, the government, the international community, the international institution will put the money on the table. We need to know how to sell our wealth to others so the others can buy our wealth as product. But unfortunately, with the ego and logo, we stuck because our board of directors or board of trustees do not like to see any other logo next to our logo. Yes, Brother Said.
Dr. Said. Welcome, Dr. Said.
I can listen to my brother for a longer time, but I wish really brothers and sisters think about how this can apply to ANSI. The idea behind ANSI, it's a network. So in Tanzania, instead of هيئة العلماء المسلمين work by itself, now we having a network which Brother Said is leading now, is an umbrella under which we can have up to 30 organizations, for example, from different countries. And this is the value and the beauty of the network. Being together will become much more than our sum. And we used to say 1 and 1, it's not always equals 2, but it could always equals much more than 2. This is the idea behind the ANSI, and this is why we request Dr. Hani to be with us to see how we apply what our brother mentioned on our own network. So being together, asking to work collectively together is much better than work alone, either in the same country like Tanzania or Zanzibar or South Africa or Ethiopia, or to work as a network in the region itself. Inshallah, we'll be trying in the coming few weeks to apply this, Dr. Hani. Jazakallah khair. Back to you, Saeed.
Thank you, Dr. Said. Now we have only 2 minutes left. Another question. The last one, Dr. Take us question on behalf of us all. So we need another question to conclude our meeting today, inshallah.
Hello, Said Bad.
Yes. Hello, yes.
Hello.
Go on, brother. Go on, please.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So,
thank you, Doctor, for your presentation. Let me declare that I'm doing a Master of Arts in Humanitarian Leadership. And when you was introducing your presentation, I heard about the Istanbul Adhan. So I wanted to maybe to introduce at least a little about the Istanbul Adhan, what was for that Adhan. But also the second, I was concerned about 70% of the fund and 30% of the fund. How does is it a consensus have reached by humanitarian actors or what? That is all about. I want to hear.
Before Dr. Hani responds, Saeed, I wish if the time finished, still brothers can pose their questions on the ANSI, and we will be sharing it with Dr. Hani, and he will respond to them either verbal or written. So if the time left, it doesn't mean the question finished. Still, you can write your questions on the group, and we will send it to Dr. Hani, and he will respond to them either verbal or in a written message. Back to you, Brother Saeed.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
To conclude, let us give an opportunity to one of the participants.
Look, can I answer the question, please?
Yes. Hello?
Can I answer the question the brothers raised?
Hello?
Hello.
Sheikh Jabir, are you talking?
Can I answer the question?
Yes, please go on, Dr.
Istanbul Adhan is about humanitarian work, is not only what we do. Can you please mute all the microphones? It's not only by what we do. It's more than that. It has got diplomacy. It has got politics. It has got culture. It has got philosophy of thinking. It has got manners and behavior of the individuals. It has got media. It has got others. We only look at traditional work. That's why Dr. Said have been with us in this declaring the Istanbul Adhan in 2022. If we look at the 22 authors in the book, find 6 heavyweight individuals who theologically, philosophically put the new dimension, and 16 operational like yourself. This number 1. The 70-30 is our brother. You have to create your own flow and tell them enough is enough. Are we only going to listen to what's been dictated on us, or we need effectively, as ANSI and the others say, that humanitarian response has to be looked at, to be divided, because during crisis people give money. After crisis, nobody can give money. And you tell United Nations, we should restart resilience from day 1, not like Syria after 10 or 12 years. And that's why it's you and me and us and all of us should make this happen. Otherwise, your adhan cannot be heard. If you cannot announce your adhan when people are dying and desperate to listen to adhan, nobody will listen to you. When the sun risen and the people are outside the houses and very busy for you. It is our initiative. Some of organizations are doing it, actually, but we need to make it effectively and tell the government organization, tell other international organizations, enough is enough. Resilience has to start from day 1 in a safer area, not from after 12 years, like in the case of Syria and others. You know how much money they spend in humanitarian response in Somalia? Over the last 30 years, more than $50 billion. What is Somalia nowadays? I hope that some Somali brothers amongst us. More than 50 billion, not million, $billion. And we're still putting money on food, water, sanitation. But who is going to build the community, the society, the municipalities, the future leadership? This is where I come from. Last question, Brother Saeed. I'm available for you anyway. If you want to carry on till tomorrow, I'm here till after tomorrow.
Yeah. If you have time, Dr. Hani, you can have another question, inshallah.
Yeah, I have time for you and for everyone.
Barakallah fiik fi umrika ya Doctor. Any question, brothers? Omar Chazua asked a question on behalf of us. MashaAllah, it's a good question. And
Thank you.
Any other question from the floor? Yes.
Ask in Arabic.
Question?
Ask in Arabic.
Yeah, from the participants, from the floor. Any question?
People asking, can they get a copy of the presentation?
Yeah,
Sister,
okay.
Yes, we can. There's no problem. But we want you to embarrass me.
We'll put it in the group, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Thank you very much. Brother, know that we have another sessions with Dr. Hani. This is just the beginning.
But
inshallah,
before you go, Brother Saeed, before you go,
yes.
would like to see the vision of Dr. Saeed, because Dr. Saeed is the one that who is teaching all of us. We cannot afford to
Inshallah.
finish this session without learning
Of
from
course.
him.
Thank you very much, Dr. Said. Please welcome.
جزاكم الله دكتور هاني. بارك الله فيكم. شكرا أخ سعيد. Thanks for everyone. إن شاء الله looking forward seeing you next week بإذن الله.
وبعدين
جزاكم الله خير. They allocated only this time, Dr. Hani, because Maghrib time started in some countries, so they would like to catch Maghrib, inshallah.
you can do Maghrib with Isha.
جزاكم الله خير. Brother Jabir would like to add anything? No.
خلاص. No problem.
خلاص سعيد أنت تقدر تقول والعصر.
والعصر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Let us conclude our session with the صوت العصر إن شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
أنا قلت يعني كان مجهود. أنا بشكر الدكتور هاني على المحاضرة القيمة، وإن شاء الله لنا يعني لقاء آخر معه بإذن الله.
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله. organize it إن شاء الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. في أمان الله.
بارك الله فيكم.